Hi, I'm Renee.
And I'm Debbie, and together
We are the Roundtable Recap. Hey, welcome back. We are on destinationx, Season 1, Episode 2. And this episode starts off with them on the bus. And it kind of looks like Allie and Shane are starting to maybe have like a showmance there.
Yeah, maybe.
So we'll kind of see where that goes. But then you see that Shane is forming an alliance with Biggie. And I
Yeah.
can't remember if it was Shane or Biggie that said this, but they said that they didn't really know the cities. So they're trying to team up with somebody to have that alliance.
Right. Yeah, I can't remember which one said that either. But I do know that Shane said that he needed a strategy. He needed a social game. I mean, he realized that, and then at the same time, Biggie realized he also needs an alliance.
And then you have Rick over here who's like, I want it to be an alliance. And he's talking to
Oh,
Ty
I
and
know.
Allie. And they're like, they're like,
No,
no, not this
we
time.
saw what you did to Josh.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, people asked him, what did you tell Josh? And he said he told him Milan.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and I think they're all thinking that they set them up for failure when in reality
mhm.
it wasn't that way.
Yeah, but at the same time, he kind of showed his hand that he's willing to betray a team,
Yeah.
if it's for his own good. And in the last episode, when it ended, I kind of felt bad for him. But the way this episode started, I'm like, no, I don't feel bad for him at all.
Yeah, it's almost giving me like a desperate, like that
hmm
desperation that is just like, come on, I need an ally, and he's willing to take whoever will
Right.
give him that alliance.
Yeah, but he's out for himself, so that's the downside.
Right. Or at least Mac, she doesn't come across as just being out for herself. It's a
Right.
different gameplay for sure.
Yeah.
So then I have where they move on to the first challenge.
Yeah, I was going to ask, okay, because I don't know about this whole goggle thing.
The VR.
But
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, because they're like, they show them on the bus, then they show them putting their, the goggles on, then it shows vision off, and it shows like some weird images of, I guess, around the place, and then it shows vision on, and, so they go from t-shirts and pants to full on snowsuits.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking that too. I'm like, yeah, I don't know because they obviously need to see to get dressed.
Right.
So
Yeah,
I
I'm
think they
wondering,
just,
do they bus them up the mountain? I mean, you can't be bussed up. They're on where they end up for that first challenge. They're on
Mhm.
top of a mountain.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nothing but snow up there.
Yeah.
So they probably, the bus is not going to drive up there. So they had to get on like a gondola or
Right, some
something.
type of shuttle to get them up to the mountain.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. And maybe the VR thing has the ability to show them like a pathway. So because
Mm,
obviously they're going to be tripping over things if they can't even see where they're walking
right.
to. So
Yeah.
maybe it just shows them like a black and white pathway and they can't really see
Mm,
anything around them other than to follow this path. I don't
yeah.
know. That's the only thing that makes
Yeah.
sense to me. And then for them to get dressed, I mean, I assume like goggles on is just
Uh-huh.
for the show itself, but
Right.
I'm
Right.
pretty sure they take them back off to get dressed for the
Yeah.
challenge and then
Yeah.
put them back on. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
curious
It's
though, it
just,
is how it works.
I was just like, okay, this whole goggle thing is so dramatic and stuff,
Mhm.
but it is not going to make them get dressed into snowsuits and
Yeah, yeah. Awesome. Yeah, they're ready. They're dressed. Yep. So yeah, they end up in the snowy mountains and they
Mhm,
have to break into 3 teams of
mhm.
3. And they're already in these teams. We don't
Right.
see how they
Yeah, because we
spread.
don't know how they got into those snowsuits.
Yeah, yeah, we don't know anything. They just show up. They're in these teams. Um, and then
Yeah,
the
because
challenge.
I was gonna say, yeah, because the snowsuits each have a different color. There's 3 different
Yes.
colors. Yeah.
Yep.
So what you've got?
Red, purple,
Mhm.
and yellow.
Yeah.
And so on the yellow team, you have Mac, Shane, and Jonah. On the purple team, you have Rachel, Rick, and Allie. And on the red, you have Ty, Biggie, and Kim. What they have to do is build a fire by answering 3 questions, which each question is linked to a clue of what
Mhm.
county they are in. And
Country.
they're country. Sorry, not
Yeah.
county. Yeah. Oh my gosh, imagine you have to pick also the county. So, anyways, so there are snow mounds, and each snow mounds they're labeled by the three different questions. There's three famous people, three types of dogs, and then three types of foods. And depending on which mound they try to dig up, they either get a good building material, or if they choose wrong, then they get a caveman type of material to build the fire.
Right.
So
Yep.
the winner, oh, go ahead.
Well, and this is all, yeah, to build the fire, and that's going to signal the helicopter.
Mhm.
So,
Which will give them the first clue.
right.
A lot of them thought were Germany, at least the red and the purple team, and then I have where the yellow team thought they were in France.
Yeah, Mac was yellow. Yeah, she thought they were in France. Yeah.
Yes, so they figure out that or at least the purple team figures out they're in Switzerland, so they actually get a lot of the answers correct and end up getting it. And what the clue is, when they go up into the helicopter, again, that's the purple team, they see the Sphinx Observatory, which is in Switzerland, and they know this because there's a Switzerland flag that's flying. So then they decide not to share the flag, but I think they are like, we'll share other things. I mean, actually, they come back and say, "Oh, zoomed in. They kept showing us the snowy mountains, and then the mountains
Hmm.
without snow."
Yeah.
Which no one's buying because they're
Right.
like, "Why would the clue
Yeah.
be the same thing that we can see from the
Right.
ground?"
Yeah. Yeah. I thought that was a bad strategy.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
They should. They could have gone with the observatory. I mean, I don't know how many people would know that there's an observatory. On, well, they called it the top of Europe. I mean, how many people know that?
right. I don't like.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. They should
something.
have at least gave them that, and then
Right, because
and just
nobody would have questioned it. Like, oh, okay, there's an
right.
observatory, and moved
Yeah.
on and believed them.
Right.
But you can see this is where kind of Allie forms her alliance actually with Ty and shares what they saw. And
Right.
then later on in the episode, you learn Rick, who was desperate to be in anybody's alliance,
Hmm.
I don't know if he tells all the boys because they don't show that, but
Yeah.
you know that at least certain guys know that
Yeah.
there's the flag.
Yeah, Biggie and Shane. Because I think Rick was talking to Biggie, and then Shane was behind Biggie. It was when in their sleeping quarters, so it was kind of hard to see who he was talking to. But Biggie and Shane came away with the clue. Then I liked Biggie, who thought that lighting a fire,
Hmm.
that Bern was a clue, which was good because Bern is the capital of Switzerland. So
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, so that
yeah,
was a clue in itself to say that they were in Switzerland.
right,
But I think it was Biggie that said, "I know that's a capital, but I don't know of where." So, like,
you're right, yeah.
he got the clue, he just, yeah, couldn't put 2 and 2 together at this point.
Yeah.
So then I just have they go to the second challenge, which is at the chalet,
Yes.
and they
Now they're on a
basically
green mountain.
yeah, now they're on a green mountain. There's no snow where they're at. Oh my gosh, and it's so beautiful. Like, to be part
Yeah.
of this
Yeah.
game would be so much fun to, like, see all the different
Yeah.
countries. I would I would suck because I don't know enough about the
Mhm.
cities and what they're famous for, but
Right.
the sceneries that these people are seeing are amazing.
Yeah. But then, I mean, we learned that Rachel actually has a degree in history, yeah, which she isn't sharing with anybody, but I can see how she could be underestimated. But with a degree in history, she should be familiar with geography, I would think.
Yeah, or at
But
least, like, these or at least more
mhm.
famous parts of the different countries.
Yeah, and there's a lot of clues even before they go, even while they're outside the chalet, because you've got the Alps, you've got the
Mhm.
fondue, you've got the cuckoo clock.
Mhm.
So I think this game, you really have to be observant because there's actually clues all around them.
Yeah, which I like too. I like that there's, like,
Mhm.
hidden things throughout, and you don't really know if it applies or not, but yeah,
Mhm.
like you said, you just have to be really observant to pick up on all those little things.
Right.
So this challenge is with that cuckoo clock, the number of cuckoos it does determines how many people go into the chalet. The first one to volunteer is Shane, and because
Hmm.
he's the first one, Jeffrey, he just has him put up 5 people that he wants in the map room. and
Mhm.
that's essentially it. But everyone after that that goes into the chalet, they have to memorize the order of which Jeffrey rings these bells. And if they get
Yes.
5 out of 10 right, then they can replace one of the names from the map room. Or if they get all 10, then they can do two.
And inside the chalet, there's lots of clues.
Yeah, which Ty and Allie pick up because there's
Hmm.
a picture of Eva Longoria and Jennifer
Jennifer.
Anderson. Yeah, they realize by putting the first two names together, it's Geneva,
Yeah.
Jen and Eva.
Did you say who Shane put up?
No,
He puts up Rachel, Mac, Jonah, Biggie, and Allie. And he put up Biggie and Allie because kind of throws suspicion off from him. He didn't want people to know that he picked 5 people to put
yeah.
up.
Yeah, and I remember him saying with Rachel that it wasn't going to ruffle
Hmm.
any feathers. I remember him saying that
Right.
about her. The second group that goes is Allie and Ty, and they get
Hmm.
all 10, right?
Hmm.
So obviously Allie takes her name down and puts up Rick, and then they decide to switch out Mac for Kim.
Right.
Third group goes, and this is actually a group of three, Mac, Rachel, and Biggie.
Hmm.
And Mac picks up because the bells have different paintings on them as well.
Hmm.
And she picks up Lake Geneva from the bell as a clue.
Right. The Geneva Fountain. Yeah.
Yeah, I have that they switch out two people for Allie and Ty.
Instead of Biggie and Rachel, right?
Oh, no,
They
they
took
took
down
down.
Biggie. No, Mac. Yeah, because Allie and Ty took down Mac. So
Mhm.
yeah, Biggie took himself down, and Rachel took herself down, and so then Allie and Ty go up.
Yeah, and this is where Rachel finds out that the guys know the clue
Hmm.
and something was said because is it Biggie that's like, oh, well, it's okay if we don't put Shane
Hmm.
up because he knows the
Right.
clue. And
Right.
yeah, so that comes to light at this point. It's the fourth turn, and it's just Jonah that goes up.
Yeah.
He gets 5. He was only able to take down one, which
Hmm.
he puts up Mac
Right.
in place of him because he's up
Right.
there still. And this is where
Right.
Jeffrey's like, "You got to toughen up."
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Because
poor
he didn't want to
Jonah.
take. I know. I wish he had gone in with a group instead of by himself. But the players had already determined who was going to go, in what order. But yeah, I mean, for Jonah, I mean, he had such a soft heart and didn't want to really put anybody up, and so he had to be reminded about this is a game.
Yeah,
The prize is two hundred
quarter of a
fifty thousand.
million. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, so he reluctantly puts up Mac. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, "Oh, I guess I should." Like, yes, take down your name. You shouldn't even question it.
I know.
So then before the last group goes in, this is
Hmm.
where they're outside and Rachel brings up the fact that a clue was shared among
Hmm.
people and it never gets said that Rick was the one who shared this clue, but like they assume it's Rick is the one. And
Right.
Rick is, in his confessional thing says, that's a big mistake to call me out, before I'm
Yeah.
about to head in, which
Yeah.
I was like, okay. So then yeah, the last group is Rick and Kim. They go in
Hmm.
and they get all 10 right. So then of
Yeah.
course
What'd you think about Rick's strategy for
the
remembering?
story. I mean, yeah, that obviously is how he remembers things. He
Yeah.
creates a story out of it and it works for him. But Kim's like, "No,
I,
we don't need a story." Like,
yeah,
"No,
right.
just
I don't need a story for all 10 belts. I'll do 5, you do 5.
yeah, yeah." But
Yeah.
I mean, it works. I mean, and he even says the story. And I
Yeah.
like they cut to Jeffrey, and I think he got a kick out of it too, because he like, and
Yeah.
then this happens, and then this happens, and then yeah. But yeah, so then yeah, Rick doesn't have an issue putting Rachel up, and then
Mhm.
Kim puts Jonah back up there to be in the map room.
Yeah.
So then once Rick comes out, he tells Rachel that he put her up there. So then that confirms to her and the group that Rick is the one who told everyone and whatnot. And it doesn't set well, I think, with everybody.
Yeah.
Because
He's
again,
making enemies.
because he's going against what was originally said. I mean, even though
Right.
Allie did it, but she confided in at least someone who can be a little bit more trustworthy.
Right. I think Rick was so desperate to have an alliance, and so he just didn't. He just overshared.
Hmm.
What did you think about Kim when she told Jonah why she put him up? Because he's the weakest player.
Yeah, I forgot about that. I didn't even write that down.
Yeah, I thought
Yeah,
that was mean.
it was. It was mean.
Oh,
It's true because yeah. I don't know. To be on these like competition reality shows, like you have to have a thick skin. You have to be
right.
wanting to compete and you have to be cutthroat at times. And unless it's a team atmosphere, as far as like not just one person's going to walk away with being the winner, you can't be a soft
Mhm.
player in these games.
Yeah, I
But
just thought it was mean the way she told him. It's like,
yeah, I know.
yeah,
She just flat out,
I put
which
you
is
up.
why I, oh, go ahead.
No, I was
Go
gonna
ahead.
say, I put you up because you're the weakest player here.
Yeah. Like that. What is
She
it?
had
You're
no.
the weakest link. Goodbye. What was that show?
Oh, right, yeah.
But I think this doesn't set well with the group either because then you see on
Hmm.
the buzz it's Kim and Rick and they're like
Right.
nobody wants to talk to us. So
Gee, I wonder why.
it obviously yeah, didn't set well with the other players even though it wasn't really discussed. So they're yeah, after this they're back on the bus. They're kind of discussing the clues. And then this is where it's Allie, Jonah, and Shane talking
Mhm.
and Jonah has no clue where they're at. So Allie throws
Right,
out Burn as where
right.
she thinks, even though she's going to go for Geneva.
Hmm.
And then it kind of cuts to Jonah's confessional and he's like crying because he's like, for them to team up with me and
Hmm.
which I was like, oh, poor kid
I
again,
know. Yeah.
because obviously that's not where they are. But okay, so the five people that end up in the map room are Mac, Jonah, Ty, Rachel, and Allie.
Right.
And Ty, which I mean, Ty and Allie walked in together anyways, but I assume there's conversation afterwards where that's where they both confirm that they're going to go with Geneva based on
Hmm.
the photos. Rachel puts hers marker between Germany and Bern. She's not sure. And she's still
Right.
thinking Germany based on the first challenge.
Hmm.
And then you come to find out that obviously, Jonah puts his on Burn. He is the one who's the most off. And this is where Jeffrey says that the second player that was the most off was Mac, which was only 3 miles away from him.
Yeah.
So it was a
Yeah.
close one. It was super
Yeah. That
close.
was that was close. Yeah, three
Hmm.
miles is not much of a difference.
Not at all.
Yeah. So Jonah finds out that Allie played him because he found out that Allie chose Geneva.
Yep. That's really it. They go over the
Hmm.
clues. One of the clues that they go over is the Frankenstein book because that took
Hmm.
place in
Hmm.
Geneva. And then the Lakers jersey was
Hmm.
for a lake, Geneva.
Right.
Jeffrey is wearing a Rolex watch,
Right. Hmm.
which is the Swiss manufacturer based in Geneva as well.
Yeah. So it's interesting to see how many clues there are around them. There's a lot that I didn't pick up, but the game goes on. I think now, they're kind of disclosing, how many clues there are and that they're in plain sight and stuff. So now you just have to
Mhm.
be more observant. Are you picking up on any of the clues or?
No, but that's also because I don't know my cities.
Oh.
I mean, I'm learning a lot from this show because I didn't even know the Rolex manufacturer.
Mm,
And then the Lakers jersey, I was like,
mm,
wait, what? I had to rewind it to be honest, because I was like, I mean, obviously we knew that was a clue because when they walked in,
mhm.
they zoomed on
Right.
this Lakers jersey that was framed.
Right.
But I was like, wait, how does that play in? And then I realized, oh, Lakers, Lake. Okay, I'm oblivious.
Yeah, I don't know. I like it. Yeah, there's a lot that I don't know about these cities, but it seems like they're picking major cities. So it's
Hmm.
not. I think they're going to be cities that are well known to people. So I think they'll probably continue with that. But it's interesting to learn, yeah, things about these cities that you never knew.
Yeah, definitely.
In the map room, I think the strategy is still probably going to be like if they're not 100% sure, they're just going to drop it in between two cities.
Yeah, which I think is smart because
Yeah,
instead of going 100% all in on one, you have a
right.
little bit of a better chance.
You just have to beat one person. That's it.
Yeah, so I really like how this game is playing out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I
And I
do.
like the social aspect, the social game.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can see Kim will probably be going. I don't see her as a top contender. She hasn't been in the map room yet, right?
No, she was not in the map room last time.
Yeah.
It's a kind of a luck game as far as whether or not you're gonna get thrown into the map room, but
Yeah, but you still have to be observant. And then if you have an
yes.
ally, depending upon who's in your alliance, then you can share clues, if you really trust the people that are in your alliance. So I think Allie and Ty, I think they probably have a good alliance and they'll probably trust each other going forward. So,
Yeah, I think so far, I mean, obviously we're only in episode 2, but I think so far they're a strong alliance. I don't know about Shane and Biggie. This episode they kind of took a backseat.
yeah, Biggie, he showed his observation skills in the first episode, but Shane, I don't think we've really seen much from him.
Yeah, I mean, this episode didn't focus really on either one except for really in the beginning. So I don't know,
Yeah,
it's too early to for me to see who else might be really really good. So we'll kind of see how it continues to play out.
yeah.
All right, we will see you guys on the next episode.
Yay!